Welcome to In the Middle. I'm Vykky. I'm a wife, a mom, and a leader shaping some of the world's most beloved brands. This is the podcast for all of us figuring it out in real time. In 20 minutes or less, let's get in the middle of it all. I'm so glad you're here. Hey y'all, welcome back to In the Middle. I am so glad you are here. Of course, I am sipping my Old Faithful, Alani Nu. This is cherry slush. This is like between cherry slush and pink slush. Those are my like go-to flavors. So I'm just finishing this off because I've been drinking it as I prepared for this episode, and I'm sad that it's over. Do y'all ever feel like that when you have like a special treat, whether it's like food or getting your nails done, whatever is the thing just for you? One of my good friends has her whole coffee ritual. Christina has her whole coffee ritual set up, and it is just like this experience just for her. I love that we're all like carving out these things that bring us joy. And Alani Nu for me is like a little piece of micro joy that I truly enjoy. So that is what I'm sipping today. What I am in the middle of, y'all, see, this is why you have to keep young people around you. My oldest, Alasia, put me onto this thing called a hair calendar. Have y'all heard of this? But I am fully in the middle of planning my hair calendar for the rest of the year. It's truly genius. Think about it. You map out vacation hair, any events that you have coming up, weddings, birthdays, activities, all of these things that if you know it's coming down the pike, like why not plan for it? And if you are a girly like me that likes to change up your hair, like right now, I'm like on the last few days of this like boho bob, which I have loved so much. It has been, I'm not going to say low maintenance because a secret that we keep keeping is like boho hair. She's high maintenance. Like, so there are things that I have to do to make sure the curls are popping, but I have loved this bob because it is a little bit more low effort. And I've been able to work out a lot more consistently and not think about it. So I am going to miss this boho bob, but just planning for the next thing. So if you haven't heard of doing this hair calendar, I will keep y'all updated how it goes for me. But in theory, I really love it because I am being a lot more planful, which of course helps me to set up appointments in advance. Also, it helps me to budget because what we do know is that hair is expensive. And so being able to plan out my budget further in advance is also really helpful. I swear, y'all, the older I get, the more I realize adulthood is just systems holding your life together. Last week, I talked about building systems and how I'm making my life easier. It truly is the core of what keeps me not only afloat, but also keeps me proactive and being able to sort of look around corners so I am not so surprised when things come my way. Because why does everything require planning now? Remember when we used to just dilly-dally? Work, groceries, appointments, dinner, bills, friendships even. Like life really be lifing. And speaking of friendships, today we're going to talk about how to be a better friend as an adult. I've actually talked about adult friendships on the podcast before, and it was one of my most engaged episodes. And that episode was really about navigating the complexity of adult friendships as we get older. Friendships changing, friendships ending, making new friends, and the loneliness and all of that. But today is going to be different. Today, I wanted to talk more about what it looks like to actually show up well inside healthy adult friendships. Lately, I have had many moments where I can just sit in my gratefulness for my tribe, and moving away really amplified that. When you live in a different city, a different time zone, and everybody has careers, kids, marriages, responsibilities, aging parents, you really start to see the people who intentionally keep choosing connection. And I don't take that lightly because I know that my friends are carving out a moment of their day for me. And I am so grateful for that. I think one of the biggest lessons adulthood teaches you is that healthy friendships usually requires intentionality. When we were younger, friendships just happened naturally. You saw each other every day at school, sports, college, work. Proximity did a lot of heavy lifting. But adult friendship requires effort, and not in a transactional way, not in a keeping score way, but in a life is full, but I still want to make room for you kind of way. And I can think back to seasons where I don't think I showed up as well as I could have as a friend. It's not because I didn't love people, but because life was moving so fast and I assumed the friendship would maintain itself. And what I have been navigating and learning over the years is that in adulthood, if you want to maintain deep and healthy and whole friendships that feel reciprocal and there's growth, it usually requires a lot more intentionality than maybe we would have expected. And before you say, Vykky, I don't have more time to do or be more to people, some of the best ways to be a good friend are actually really small. Put important dates on your calendar. I'm serious, y'all. I don't rely on my brain anymore to retain all of the important dates to people in my orbit and in my tribe. It's just too valuable to rely on my memory. Kids' birthdays, anniversaries, surgery dates, hard anniversaries after somebody loses a loved one. People remember when you remember. And one thing I've learned, both in my own experience as well as feedback from my friend, is care is often felt most in the follow-up. Not just someone texting the day something happens, but checking back in later. And that doesn't mean that the immediate check-in isn't important, but oftentimes there tends to be this overwhelm of support in the moment. But then 3 months down the line, everyone's gone back to their lives and everyone's getting busy. And whether it's good or bad, you're left with this heaviness. And now you don't have that consistent check-in that you had maybe when things were newer. Like, hey, how did that meeting go? How are you feeling now? How's your mom doing? I love when my friends ask about my mom. How are things this week? That stuff matters. Even if it's just a text message or a quick call or Marco Polo. I also think grace matters so much more in adult friendships. And candidly, I think this is where a lot of friendships struggle because everybody is overwhelmed. Everybody. Y'all, we are balancing so much right now. We have kids, marriages, friendships, aging parents who are still trying to take care of themselves. And I'm like wondering, are we now becoming the parents? Love you, mommy and daddy. But it's a lot. Our lives are so full. And one thing moving to Seattle taught me is that healthy friendship requires flexibility. I am largely maintaining some of my closest friendships through Marco Polo, voice notes, prayers, random check-in texts, quick calls while somebody's driving somewhere, wherever I can get in. And y'all, some of my friends love Marco Polo like me, but some of them probably tolerate Marco Polo because they love me. And that means a lot to me because they are meeting me where I am. We have a 3-hour time difference. We're all in different stages of life. Everybody communicates differently, but there is still intentional effort there. And what's so beautiful about this journey that we're on, and again, why I started this podcast in the middle, because I am seeing in real time that mature friendship realizes connection does not always have to look perfect. Would I love to go to brunch for 3 hours and get cute and take pictures and then go shopping? Yes. But candidly, that's just not realistic for the season of life we are all in, even if we were all in the same area. In the maturity, I'm able to see that a delayed reaction does not equal rejection. She gonna get back to you on that text message. Sometimes people are just living their lives or trying to. I believe one of the healthiest things you can do in friendship is stop personalizing every season. We have to give people room to be human. And it's been so illuminating just navigating the amount of change and flexibility and grace. I am realizing the older I get, the more I value friendships that just feel safe. It's not competitive. It's not performative. There's no scorekeeping. I really love my friendships that when they win, baby, I win. I genuinely feel like I win too. I feel like God is in the neighborhood and my blessing is on the way. And it's vice versa. We're checking on each other. We're praying for each other. We are encouraging each other. We are praying for each other's kids. We are literally talking about our kids being second generation best friends. My friends' kids, I feel like are an extension of me and my family. And their success, their health, their wholeness, it means so much to me. And I am equally as invested. That kind of friendship feels really sacred to me. Healthy friendship should feel like a soft place to land. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean conflict never happens, but it does mean that there's safety there. There's grace there and there's honesty there. We can be so tapped in that I've developed a sense of when I need to lean in, when I need to pull back, when I need to just, that's not something that we can unpack today, because I can recognize that there isn't capacity. And that is rooted in grace and safety and love. I want the very, very best for all of my friends. And with my whole heart, I believe they want the same for me. And so I am invested in their whole person, their spiritual walk, their physical health, their marriages, relationships, situationships. I am invested and I want the very best for them. And so I am going to push them and I want them to push me because ultimately I know that we want to see each other reach the highest points that our potential shows that we can reach. I think a huge part of being a good friend as an adult is learning how to celebrate people well. Recommend your friends in rooms that they aren't in. One of my friends, Crystal, listen, she is so consistent in recommending you for opportunities. Even if you're not really that qualified, she has such faith in you and your capabilities that she will recommend you and she will say your name. And I have always appreciated and admired that about her. And it is something that I push myself to do more. And that's something that I learned from her. We have to do a much better job of speaking positively about them and to them. Sometimes we can be our own worst critic and we need our friends to be like, but girl, like you're that girl. No, you're that girl. Like when you're feeling low, sometimes your friends just have to step up to affirm you. And again, like I am so blessed because I have that and I see that. And I pray that I am that for them too, because that affirmation matters, man. Life can be tough sometimes. And so whether it is your romantic partner or your platonic friends, like we're talking about today, man, you need someone in your corner affirming you and reminding you that you are that girl or that dude. We have to support what our friends are building, not in just the affirmations, but showing up for them, whether that means a repost, going to their launch event, investing in their business, whatever makes sense for you and your financial situation or the time that you have, but doing something tangible that encourages them beyond the words. You have to be excited for their wins. It's nothing like seeing your friends win, whether they launched something new or they achieved a goal, weight loss, muscle gain, whatever it is. When I see my friends win in that way, it really feels like I win too. I believe everybody needs more people in their life that genuinely clap when good things happen for them. And I think one of the most beautiful parts of adulthood is realizing friendship doesn't have to look perfect to still be meaningful. Sometimes being a good friend is a long conversation. Sometimes it's sending a hilarious and relatable meme. Sometimes it's a prayer. And sometimes it's giving your friends room to be human during hard seasons. Honestly, y'all, in a world where everybody is busy and overwhelmed and pulled in a million directions, your friends continuing to intentionally choose you is really beautiful. And so if you haven't had a moment lately to just tell your A1 day one that you love them and you appreciate them and you see them, do it today. Don't delay. Tell them you're grateful. Tell them you're thankful. And be specific about the ways that they show up. Affirm them. Edify how much they mean to you in a really specific way. This is your reminder to nurture those good friendships. And again, it doesn't take a lot. It does take some consistency and it does take some intentionality, but it's not these grand gestures that sometimes we see on Instagram, like your friends buying you a Louis Vuitton bag. Now listen, friends, if y'all want to pick up your girl, I won't block my blessing, but it's not that. It doesn't take all of that. It's sending flowers because you know they had a hard week, or it's a text message. It is a voice note of a prayer for a specific thing that they're navigating. Make it simple. Automate where you can. Y'all put it on the calendar. Please don't rely on your memory because you're going to see something that you're like, oh man, I forgot to do the thing. Save yourself the time. Put it on your calendar. Make the time. If you can travel and be somewhere physically, do it. Absolutely. But what I'm encouraging myself is that I'm not going to allow distance to be the reason I can't show up in some way for my friends. So yeah, this is for my friends, my girls. I love y'all so much. And I am grateful that the Lord put you in my orbit. And whether you've been a friend for, gosh, I think my longest is like 35 years, which is insane. Or you are a newer friend. I am grateful that the Lord saw fit that we can do life together. And I don't take any minute you give me for granted, and I love you all so much, and I admire your tenacity, your creativity, how beautiful you are, the amazing mother and sister and wife and mom, and all of the hats that you wear. I just admire you so much, and you make me better. You make me a better wife. You make me a better mom. You make me a better Christian. You make me a better worker. You make me a better friend, and I love you, and I'm grateful for you. I should call this a love letter to my friends. Um, y'all, my cup is so full. Like, even just getting ready for this episode, I was able to FaceTime with my best friend and talk life, and we just ebbed and flowed so much across a variety of things. And not being able to be in the physical presence of the majority of my core group has been hard sometimes. When we have these little moments that pop up, I'm encouraged. I'm thankful for technology. And I'm thankful for my friendships and their intentionality. And so I would just encourage you to do the same. Y'all, thank you so much for trusting me with this conversation and for being here week after week. As I told you last week's episode, we're getting really close to the end of season 1. Next week is going to be the questions that need answers. I've already gotten some good questions in. You still have time to get your questions in, unless you're listening to this a lot later, but I'm always accepting questions for questions that need answers. This is an ongoing series. So if you can, get your questions in, hit the podcast on Instagram or TikTok, or send an email to inthemiddle@lifewithvykky.com. All of the details will be in the show notes. Thank you all so much again for the 5-star ratings and written reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. I can't tell you how valuable it is to help other people discover the podcast. So thank you so much in advance for the continued support, and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to In the Middle. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend and click subscribe so you never miss an honest conversation about life in the middle. I'll see you next time.